Okay, so this is going to be a pretty short video because I only have 6 problems, and so I put some memes in it just to jazz it up a little bit. Okay, website, we use cookies to improve performance. Me, same. So if you need cookies to get through this, feel free. Okay, so this is the quiz review over on McGraw-Hill, and the first couple of questions just have regular integers in front of the variables. They don't have decimals or fractions. I do have my handy-dandy calculator so that when we get to the decimal and the fraction ones, I'll be able to whip out some answers for you there. Also, you might want to have the handout ready because then you don't have to write the problems down, okay? You can also use the handout on the quiz as like a cheat sheet, you know. Okay, so our first problem here is 3x minus 1 equals 2x plus 1. Our first order of business is always to get all of the variable terms on one side. Leave these little numbers alone until you're sure which one you need to get rid of. With the variable terms, 99% of the time, you want to get rid of the smaller one. Well, 3x and 2x is smaller. So I subtract 2x from both sides. And then I have just 1x, which I can write just x, minus 1 equals 1. Then, second step, to get the x by itself, I need to get rid of this minus 1. I do that by adding 1 to both sides, and I get x is equal to 2. Okay? This didn't have a second step because when I subtracted these variable terms, my coefficient was 1, so I didn't have to divide both sides by anything to solve this one. It was shorter. Okay, this is 11n plus 4 equals 4 minus 3n. Okay? Again, still integer coefficients, just regular numbers. Okay, I get all my variable terms on one side first. Which is bigger, 11n or negative 3n? 11n is bigger, so I want to get rid of the negative 3n. I do that by adding 3n to both sides. That gives me 14n over here plus 4 equals 4. All right. Now to get the variable term by itself, I need to get rid of this plus 4. I do that by subtracting 4 from both sides. That gives me 14n is equal to 4 minus 4 is 0. Yes, 0 is a number. So my last step then would be to divide both sides by 14, but common sense tells us at this point n has to be 0. There's only one number that n could be that when multiplied with 14 will give us 0, and it has to be 0. So n is 0. Don't put 0 over 14 in that, it won't. No, it's looking for just 0. Okay. All right, next. Now we're mixing in some fractions. Okay, so we have a meme. So it turns out Billy is failing math because someone at home keeps telling him 40 is the new 30. Parents. Okay, this problem says v minus 1 3/4, 1 3/4. It reminds me of Harry Potter and the gate. Wasn't it like 9 3/4 or something? 3v minus 1 3/4. All right, first thing we have to do is get all of our variable terms on one side. We'll go after the smaller one, which is smaller, 3v or 1v. 1v is smaller, so we get rid of 1v by subtracting 1v from both sides. That gives me a negative 1 3/4. Okay, this minus sign goes with this 1 3/4. All right, 3v minus 1v is 2v. Minus 1 3/4. Okay. Now to get 2v by itself, I need to get rid of this minus 1 3/4. I do that by adding 1 3/4 to both sides. Okay. And this is like deja vu because I now have 2v equals 0 because negative 1 3/4 and positive 1 3/4. And then we divide both sides by 2. And I get v equals 0. Computer-generated problems. Question number 4. Again with the fractions. We have negative 2 11/12 plus 2/3 n equals 5/3 n minus 5/3. You will want your TI-30 handy dandy calculator for this one. Okay, compare the variable terms. We want to get rid of one, and we usually want to get rid of the smaller one. 2/3 is less than 5/3. So we're going to get rid of the 2/3. We do that by subtracting 2/3 n from both sides. Okay, so I have -2 and 11/12 on the left. These are gone now, so all I have on the left is -2 and 11/12. Over here, I have 5/3 minus 2/3. You can use a calculator for that if you need to, but 5/3 minus 2/3 is 3/3, and 3/3 is 1. So we just have 1n minus 5/3. The final step then to get our variable by itself is to get rid of this minus 5/3. We do that by adding 5/3 to both sides. Now here's where you'll want to use a calculator for sure. These cancel out, leaving us with just n on the right. But let's go for the TI-30 for this one. We have -2 and 11/12, and we're adding to that 5/3. So the TI-30 says that is -1 and 1/4. Now, the answers on the thing, I would have also included -5/4 is a correct answer, but it has to be fully simplified. Either one of those would work. When I give you a problem with fractions, though, don't give me an answer with decimals. If the problem has fractions, the answer should be fractions or whole numbers. If the problem gives you decimals, then it's okay to answer in decimals, don't answer in fractions. So if the problem is fractions, give me fractions. If the problem is decimals, give me decimals. Okay. Speaking of decimals, when I'm introduced to someone and they say, I've heard a lot about you, you're like, oh, is it good stuff or bad stuff? I don't know. All right, so this is question 5. We're getting close to the end already. Gosh, I told you this was going to be quick. 5.9x minus 1.64 equals 6x minus 1.3. Okay, nothing here has changed except for the coefficients are a little nastier looking, okay? Here our variable terms are 5.9x and 6x. Which one's bigger? Well, 6x is bigger than 5.9. So we're going to get rid of the 5.9, and we do that by subtracting 5.9 from both sides. 5.9x, I should say. So on the left, all we have left is -1.64. Yes, the sign in front of the number goes with the number. It's a -1.64. And on the right, we have 6 minus 5.9, which is going to give us 0.1x minus 1.3. Okay, you could have done that in a calculator, just 6 minus 5.9. All right. Now, it's a two-step equation. I want to get my variable term by itself, so I need to target this guy for elimination. We get rid of a minus 1.3 by adding 1.3. And I think I could do this one in my head, but if I'm going to make a mistake, it's going to be when I'm doing math in my head. So I'm going to go ahead and do it on the calculator just to be sure. Yep. I could have done it. -0.34 equals 0.1x. My final step is to divide both sides by whatever number is with the x, so I'm going to divide both sides by 0.1. -0.34 divided by 0.1 equals -3.4. So in reveal, then you would just type in -3.4. Okay. Not 0 that time. And my final question, again with the decimals, is x plus 0.6 equals 1.05 plus 1.1x. All right? This is a 1x and this is a 1.1x. So which one is smaller? The 1x is smaller, just by a smidge. So we want to get rid of him. So we subtract 1x from both sides. These are gone now, and all we have on the left is a positive 0.6. On the right, we have 1.05 still. And then 1.1x minus 1x is 0.1x. I guess I could put a 0 there. 0.1x. Okay. Here's my variable term. I want to get that by itself, so I need to get rid of this 1.05. I do that by subtracting 1.05 from both sides. And don't get bogged down in this. Just whip out the calculator. 0.6 minus 1.05 equals, and I did something wrong. It gave me 104, and that's not right. 0.6 minus 1.05. It didn't take the point last time. Gives me negative 0.45 equals 0.1x, because this is gone now. Last step is to divide both sides by the coefficient of the x, or the number that's in front of the x, or whatever letter you happen to be using. 0.1, okay? So we have 0.45 divided by 0.1, and we've seen before that just moves the decimal one place to the left. So we get negative 4.5 equals x, because of course those will cancel out. Okay. So that is very similar to what the quiz is going to be like tomorrow. There are also 6 questions on the quiz. And yeah, so that's it. All right, I told you that would be short and sweet. Look, how long is this? Only 11 minutes. You guys are going to be so bored. All right, well, go ahead over to McGraw-Hill and complete the review for quiz. It's the exact questions I just did, okay? So do the review for quiz, and then tomorrow we'll have the quiz. All right. Well, I hope you guys have a great day. Enjoy the rest of your day, and stay safe.